Welcome back. Let's begin with a daily graphic that says government committed to passage of RTI bill. Abdul Hamid is Minister for Information. He says so. NHIS service providers send SOS to government, pay us all 12-month arrears and refer conduct of MPs to police. Asiedu urges Speaker of Parliament. Beg your pardon. Nikote Jani, a judge best entrepreneur. On the front page of the Daily Heritage, thugs beat chase out journalists from press conference. I need Arabic interpreter. Embattled Mawako supervisor tells court MBB government to pass RTI bill by the end of this year, says Information Minister. And Nino Anote apologizes to Akufo-Addo, says, I am sorry. The Independent newspaper this morning says, with only about 100 days in office, Akufo-Addo warned to closely monitor his ministers as his government scores B+ rating. We'll get into the details. And Gassem Diamond Cement accused of exploiting Ghanaians and ruining the economy. NDC MP attacks government over payment of 1 month NHIS arrears. And Daily Guide this morning says Metro Mass chases NDC for 1.9 million Ghana cedis and paid bus rental. Ninoy begs Nana travels by road to Togo. The Ghanaian Times this morning reports that will pass RTI bill. Information Minister promises on World Press Freedom Day. Government to change policy on nurses recruitment. Man butchers grandson's leg for attempted stealing. And Today newspaper finally says, Stop Galamsey hashtag is up there, and we're counting down the 30-day ultimatum that was added after the 21-day ultimatum. Top MPP man cited in land grabbing 10 days after fire disaster. GN Bank and Gold Coast branches bounce back, we're told. Bribery scandal hits KMA. And that's about it. My guest to do the interaction this morning, the Honourable Theophilus Etechai is former Member of Parliament for the Ablekuma Central Constituency. Honourable, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wonderful shirts there. Usually taste the inside. Oh. And the Honourable Andrew Mesa is the MP for Second. The Honourable, maybe I should more of him. Welcome, gentlemen. So yesterday, a very large portion of the nation, some say countrywide, was plunged into darkness. Is Dumso back?
Clearly not. I mean, I understand from the Chief Executive of Greek Code this morning. First and foremost, good morning to your listeners. That this incident is purely technical, and that they themselves have not been able to identify what the real cause of the outage is, and that there was some system failure that had plunged the country into darkness, and that within the next 2 to 3 hours, this issue will be resolved. I don't see it as being the return of Dumso at all. We all know that this electricity production, distribution and supply is purely a technical matter, that some computer glitch or some failure of some equipment can easily plunge the country into darkness. And this is what I believe, having listened to the explanation so far, is the reason for the darkness. And I'm hopeful that within the time frame that has been put across, this will be resolved.
How did you feel yesterday when your lights went off and you had to sleep in darkness? Never mind that you have a generator to survive on.
It is always not a pleasant situation to be in. We've become so used to electricity, such that anytime that it goes off, we all face some challenges one way or the other. So, of course, like many Ghanaians across the country, I experience the same discomfort that everybody experienced with the onslaught of the light off. But you know, like we said, some of these things are not within the control of any particular agency, institution, or person. So let's hope that they are able to resolve the problem as expeditiously as possible, so that we all go back to normal life.
Honourable Etechai, the last time we checked, we were told that the conditions that brought about the Dumso had been as much as possible reduced, negated, and that we're not going to have Dumso again. Mr. Boachijakwa, the vetting, was very confident. FRSU, regasification, you know, a lot of the terms that he threw about. And here we are, what seems like a nationwide blackout. Do you see Dumso coming back?
Thank you very much, and good morning to all your cherished listeners. I don't see Dumso coming back. as a result of the good work, the infrastructure that was put into play by the former president. Before the NDC left office, we all know the challenges that the NDC went through. And as a result, a lot of resources were committed to ensure that power generation in this country was raised to a certain level that will assure all of us that power generation that we need as a country. And so therefore, in his when he was being questioned during the appointment committee, the vetting process, the then candidate or nominee did indicated to the committee that per what he has come to see at the ministry in terms of power generation and so on and so forth, that the former government has put in place, it will be very difficult for Ghana as a country to go through that same process. And that was very true, because a lot of resources were committed to ensure that we up our power generation in this country. That notwithstanding, as for challenges, occasionally we'll have challenges because we are dealing with machines, and sometimes machines will fail. But then we need also the capacity to overcome those challenges as quickly as possible, so that the average person will not suffer unduly. Yes, you rightly mentioned that some have generators. What about the average person?
Right.
And the way the lights are going on and off, people's appliances are going to be damaged.
Right.
How are they going to get those machines back? Because since yesterday, intermittently the light goes off, comes on, goes off, comes on, and even up to just this morning before I came to the studio, it's gone off 3 times.
The shock on surprise on Honorable Mercer's face. What, you have a rebuttal?
No, because the experience that I had and the reports that I've had was that the lights went off at one go.
No,
it never.
Well,
it wasn't
for me, it went off twice before it completely went off around 9 p.m.
Even
Yes,
this morning,
this morning it's come back and gone twice.
Well, I left home early, and so I have not had such experience.
In fact, when we're driving to work, from a distance, we realized that the traffic lights were on, and then it went off, and then it came back on.
Well, I believe that it's part of the process of resolving the problem. And of course, if the engineers have put everything together and restart the system, it is entirely possible.
We're told that we don't have a generation problem.
Yeah.
So what exactly
we've not had a generation problem in a very long time.
So what is the problem?
Like I indicated earlier, the explanation that has been proffered by the chief executive of GRICO is that it's a system failure.
Okay.
We are yet to be provided with the full details of the actual problem, and I will not want to speculate and make conjecture as to what transpired when I don't have any technical capacity to
for private business people who have to go through the trouble of procuring fuel, diesel in drums, and the attendant cost that comes along with it. They'll certainly be worried if the power is not fully restored. I mean, today, tomorrow, so they can work with it. Is that a major concern?
Well, the assurance that we got was that it was going to come back up in the next 3 hours. At least the 6 o'clock news that I listened to indicated that within the next 3 hours the system should be back on. Okay. So I'm hopeful that, of course, unless of course we get to that point and some further details are provided for us to see the real extent of the problem. But having listened to the explanation from the technical people, I do not have any doubt as to the capacity to bring it back at the time that they've indicated.
Yeah,
right, yes.
The on and off that we are experiencing is not only yesterday.
Right.
Parts of Accra have been experiencing light on, light off.
Silently for some time.
For some time
I
now.
agree.
Especially in the area that I come from. So it's not something that is just a one-off. And therefore, we need better explanation as to what is happening.
But if we don't have... it sounds like a riddle to me, because if we don't have generation capacity, we have everything that we need. Why do we have to go on and off, really? I mean, because we are told at a certain point, trouble will shut down, we'll do maintenance, we'll do this. So we are abiding by the things that we need to do, and yet we still have these hiccups here and there. It's unacceptable, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it is. And we should be able to be provided reliable power supply at all times.
So 3 hours,
that's
say.
That's the optimal.
3 hours, you say. We'll see. I had a friend travel from China, and he's been studying medicine there. He came back and the light went off. Says, what? He's been in China for 18 years. The light never went off, even once.
Yeah.
And for us, it looked okay. Anyway, so yesterday was Press Freedom Day, and Minister for Information says the RTI will be passed by the close of the year. That's an emphatic promise. For 9 years, we have had this sitting on the table. Thankfully, both of you have been in Parliament. So we'll start with you on both your floor, Secretary. What's holding the RTI from being passed? We were so close.
Do you remember?
We were so close.
Yes. Do you remember? That was last year.
Yes.
I came here one evening. You were all contemplating whether the RTI bill would be passed.
Right.
And I told you emphatically that per what is happening in Parliament, there was no way that bill will see the light of day in that parliamentary sitting.
Exactly.
And it happened. You know, there are some challenges that some members think will not inure to the benefit of the entire citizenry as to some clauses within the bill. And I can also tell you on the fact that there are some clauses within the bill that will also be inimical to the type of information that journalists will seek.
Right.
Some members are of the view that the current state of even journalists seeking information is more enhanced than some of the clauses that were put in that bill. Right. Will make even getting information very difficult because you go through a lot of frustration, the issues of fees and so on and so forth. So these are some of the technical challenges that we really need to look at. Okay. And I believe that per the commitment of the current government, this bill should come to Parliament as quickly as possible.
We've had similar commitments in the past. He says that as soon as Parliament resumes, the bill will be laid. But we've had this situation over and over again.
You see,
so I'm a bit confused at this point.
The Right to Information Bill have gone through a lot of fine-tuning.
Right.
Okay. Yes, we have to get it right. Because there are so many bills that we pass into law that we cannot even actualize or practically use those laws because adequate research didn't go into it.
Right.
And we've learned from other countries that are also practicing using this right to information act to enhance press freedom.
Right.
We've gone there to look at some of the challenges that they also face as a country in terms of governance. So with all this background information, we must ensure that we get it right as a country.
Right.
So that at the end of the day, if this bill is passed, it should not rather serve as a stumbling block to press freedom.
Right.
Because I can tell you, there are some clauses within the bill that will make even gathering information very difficult.
Yet you wanted to pass it the last moment before the lifespan of the sixth Parliament lapsed. You recall?
Honorable.
Yet he sits here and
please, hold on. You'll be given the opportunity to make your point.
But he raised a legitimate concern.
Listen. I said there are opinion people have
different opinions.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Okay? My opinion may be different. Is that okay? I may decide that, look, with the challenges involved, the bill is still right to be passed.
Okay, so honorable.
Another person will not be happy with some clauses. It is up to Parliament to build consensus.
But honorable, to the extent, and speaking of consensus, to the extent that before you put together a bill, and council will tell you, before you put together a bill, the Attorney General looks at it. Somebody sponsors the bill, the Attorney General looks at it, fixes it, brings it to Parliament. Stakeholders are invited by memorandum to make their input and all of that. We've had so many coalitions and organizations sending memos and mounting pressure and telling us why it is important. So the conversation has gone on for a long time. What else do we need at this point? We've changed parliaments. We've seen different regimes.
let me tell you something.
What fine-tuning at all do
No,
we need?
let me tell you something. Mark my words. This bill is coming back to Parliament. Is that okay? You'll be surprised that the entire session of this session will end with that bill not passed into law. You see,
why?
When bills come to Parliament, the representatives are acting on your behalf.
Right.
Is that okay?
Right.
Now, though the drafters of the bill may have certain ideas, which practically maybe will not work.
Okay.
Is that okay? Now, it is up to your representatives to ensure that clause by clause, sometimes there are some clauses that are opposed to other clauses. But in the initial draft, the drafter didn't even recognize that anomaly.
Is that not why the committee is supposed to sit on it? The select committee is supposed to sit on it.
Yes,
and
after the
these.
select committee has sat on it, it comes to the plenary.
Right.
And there, the entire house has the, especially when it's going through the consideration stage, that is when the amendments...
They can speak to
exactly. So the committee has gone through it. They are satisfied with it. But then when it comes to the plenary at the consideration stage, members may have different opinions. And that is where the amendments comes in. And that is where the argument starts, begin. And that sometimes leads to the delay.
So you're saying that we can't bring finality to this by the close of the year?
No, per the work that has been done.
Okay.
Per the work that has been done. If the bill is coming back in that same state,
right,
then I don't think
but you just said that there are certain elements within the bill that will make information gathering difficult.
Yeah, people have several views. That look, a person looking for information should pay a certain amount within a certain period. Okay? So if within that period, the person is not having the resources, it means he cannot access the information.
Absolutely.
And somebody also feels that, oh, well, it is okay. Once the information will be given, he should be able to pay something for that information to be accessed. So it depends on how each of us...
Honorable, you are in Parliament. He's bringing institutional memory and experience, but you're in Parliament now with your legal background as well. Are we seeing finality to this matter?
I believe so, that we'll see finality to this matter. But the truth, really, is that they lack the political will to pass the bill.
No.
Okay, but you have the political will.
It was your party that said they would not.
But you sit here.
Yes,
you remember. It was your
in
party.
One breath.
No.
No, hold on.
I'm being objective.
Honorable, I think that...
Hold on.
Honorable, I think that in Parliament...
We all know
the
what
workings,
transpired.
Hold on. We know how Parliament works. There are two sides. There's leadership, there's a speaker. You either build consensus or you do the majority thing.
Exactly.
In the last Parliament, at the time that the bill was laid and actually the question was put, the dichotomy or the point of disagreement came from your side of the house.
Absolutely. And the question,
why were you opposed to the bill?
Of course, because they knew that there were problems with the bill, yet they wanted to treat it as an emergency because they had lost power.
No.
And push it down the throat of the people of Ghana. And we objected.
The elections are not being done.
The elections had been held. It was only during this early January that they tried to pass the bill.
Oh.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry.
That was the case.
Hold on. No.
You see?
No.
Allow him to.
If Parliament went on,
you've had your chance to speak. Let me also
Andrew,
speak.
Andrew, speak.
No, but you are not speaking.
Andrew,
the
speak.
facts.
The Right to Information Bill was not introduced on 1st January 2016.
Right.
It had been there. I think it had survived 2 parliaments.
Yes.
The 5th parliament and then the 6th parliament. During those periods, they were in the majority. And you and I know that the minority always have its say and the majority will have its way.
So now you have your way.
Absolutely. Okay. And the government has indicated clearly within the first year that this bill is coming back, and within this year it will be passed.
He raises critical questions about people having divergent views in the plenary.
There will always be divergent views. That's why there's a debate.
People asking questions.
And the majority has its way
do you foresee,
all the time.
Do you foresee that the other side, the minority at this point, will also try and repeat the experience you gave them while they were in the majority?
They do not have any incentive to do so because we, the government, is actively intended on ensuring that this bill passes. They did not want the bill passed. Because
why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Obvious reasons.
It's
so clear.
No. You don't
It's so
have
clear.
Why do you say that?
I don't have to be in Parliament to know what happens in Parliament.
Let me tell you what
No, is that what you are suggesting? That you need to be in Parliament before you know what transpires in Parliament? No, address that question. Do I have to be in Parliament?
Let me tell you
so withdraw the statement that I don't have institutional memory.
Let me tell you what happened.
It was so clear that you did not have the will to pass the act.
I've read the Hansard. I've read the Hansard, and it points the debates at the time, how it went down. I didn't see.
Let me refresh his
in
memory
there.
on something. Look, you need numbers to pass the bill.
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
Yes, true.
Now, anytime Parliament was ready for that thing to be passed, what happens? The minority, they just vanish from the house. You've forgotten. And I came here the last day when we were being told by the then speaker that thing should be passed. And I came here that late evening and told you that, look, per what the minority is doing, I'll be very surprised if that bill is passed into law. And lo and behold, the following day, it happened. You know what your members do? When the House is ready to pass the bill, they signal their members, and then they all vanish from the room. And therefore, you don't have the quorum to pass the bill. So please.
We hope we have
what was the numbers that were required?
Let's do it right this time.
Of course, it's going to be done right.
So like the NDC will never sabotage this bill. We will make sure we support you to ensure that it is passed.
Was that the only bill that, assuming without admitting that the minority objected to it? Was that I'm coming. I said I used qualifying words. That assuming
legal jargon,
that was the case. How about all the other bills that the minority objected, that they found ways to get it passed?
Listen.
So I'm telling you that it is they who lacked what was required to get the bill passed into law.
At this point, the numbers are in your favor.
Of course, have the quorum.
So
when you don't have a quorum to work on,
so why didn't you use the whip system to get a quorum in place?
Okay,
if you had what it took to pass the bill into law.
The commitment from you is that, per what Mr. Alhaji Asiedu has said,
we have demonstrated clearly over the years that we are for press freedom. In fact, we were the government that repealed the criminal libel law
in 2001.
Of course, and we have indicated clearly that this is going to be done, and the president has promised that it's going to be done. It's been reaffirmed by the Minister of Information, and we will all see by the close of this year that this bill is passed.
So the NDC is going to support to ensure that
because they are not in power
around the table.
That the benefits that the journalists and everybody will have with access to information would inure to your benefit. So now you are in opposition, you will support it. But when you are in government,
listen to him. He's saying himself.
No, I'm not.
He's saying that because we are in opposition.
I'm saying that is why you support it.
Him. He's a lawyer.
That's the reason why you support it.
Now that
that's the reason why you support it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Look
because
so that was what they were doing.
But we were going to benefit when we supported it, when we were in opposition.
It is going to benefit the entire people of this country.
So
not political
parties.
Gentlemen, thank you. Now, for you watching us from home, let's get to read your thoughts on 050-823-5228. Will the RTI be passed? Is that your belief? The MPP says yes, it will pass it. The NDC says we'll support. Will we see finality to it after 9 years? Well, we hope we get there. But the Daily Guide is reporting this morning that Metro Mass is chasing the NDC for 1.9 million Ghana cedis unpaid bus rental that it gave them. And I'll start with the Honorable Theophilus Etechai. This is a jab that Metro Mass is throwing at you. Says, give us our money because we gave you service and you had to pay for it.
I have gone through the story.
Right.
The publication is not very emphatic. Using words allege, even getting the CEO to even respond to the issues, they've not had that opportunity. So this story is coming from maybe somebody, an insider or wherever. But it is very important that we see some responses from people who are actually in charge. Because you read the story and it says it's an allegation. Okay,
1.9 million Ghana cedis.
Yes,
but they give a breakdown of
the breakdown has
buses,
been done.
22 buses to Cape Coast and so on. So,
but we are talking of language here. Okay. Oh no, it's very important. If somebody says alleged,
they are speaking to a pro forma invoice.
Absolutely.
No. Where is the? Do you have a
It is here. It is here. Also, you need a photocopy of the pro forma.
No. Please.
Come on.
You're a lawyer. You should know this.
Come on.
The person is not emphatic. The one putting out the story.
All right.
Says it's an allegation. Read. You read. Allegation. It's okay. Now they've gone further to the institution to find out from the CEO whether what they are being told is true. They've not yet had responses. Then you want me to come and sit here and then gives a thumb up to the story? No. In communication, we don't do that.
Right.
Let us have a clear picture of the story. If it is true that the government owes, because yes, political parties rent buses.
Absolutely.
Of course. But you don't expect me to come and respond to an alleged story, which have not been even verified but from the institution that the story is coming from.
From where you sit as a member of the NDC, an integral part indeed, do you know that indeed the NDC owes the Metrobus some amount of money?
Every political party. The NPP rented buses for their members. The NDC also rented buses.
So why are they picking on the NDC?
I'm not a member of the finance committee.
Right.
Okay? Definitely, I will not know payments that were made.
Have you had indication from them?
I've not had any indication.
This is how much you owe, this is how much you don't?
I don't have that information. That is why I'm saying that if the paper were to be very emphatic, gotten the responses from the institution as to, yes, the NDC really owes, I'll also respond to the issues.
Are you discarding it because it comes from the Daily Guide?
No, because of the words that has been used.
Right.
Because if you tell me alleged, it means you yourself, you are not emphatic.
That is not the case.
Oh, please, it is a case.
You will have your...
It is a case. It is a case. If you tell me those within the institution who are in charge of the institution have not responded to your call, because that will authenticate the information that you have. So you don't expect me, who is just here to review that paper, to say emphatically that that is what has happened. No, please.
Anyway, Honorable Andrew,
you see,
1.9 million.
This is a clear story that the journalist was being very professional in using words that it is alleged.
Okay.
Because based on information, and these are pro forma invoices that detail figures, number of buses, and the amounts that were rented from point where to where. It's all there in black and white. So he was only being professional in indicating that, because of course this is not information that is coming from him personally. So he has to say that it is alleged. But to say that because the journalist used words alleged, the pro forma invoices that he's made references to,
you are a lawyer.
Is of no
you are a lawyer.
It's neither here nor there.
If you are before court and this is brought before you, is that how you are going to respond to it?
Thankfully, I'm not a judge.
Oh.
So I cannot respond to matters as you put it. But the truth of the matter is that this is a story that has not been denied.
So you're
by the NDC itself.
So please, no.
You're buying the story.
Tell me where the NDC. Tell me where in the story that the NDC supported it.
Are you?
So
no, please.
And which is why I
tell me where in the story that the NDC
have you provided receipt to say that you have paid these monies that are contained in the pro forma invoice?
There's no response to this story. That is why I cannot
because you can't respond. It is the fact.
But he stated that he's not a member of the finance committee. So
let him say so. No, let him say so, and then appropriately we can get people who can answer these questions to answer.
I'm looking at the bigger picture of, for example, if all political parties owe 1.9 million, Metromass fees, then we're draining the company. We're running it down.
To the substantive point. It's clearly is abuse of incumbency.
And he says that you also owe money.
But why were we not put in there? Of course, because we're in opposition. Metromass will even rent us buses.
We need to be factual.
They will even rent us buses.
Hold on. I've never said here that the MPP owes Metromass money. All what I said was
every
that
political party.
Political parties.
And I'm saying that if every political party owes this much, then we're running down the company.
Of course. If the story is true, okay, if the story put out is true, then the party needs to pay because they went into negotiation. But I'm saying that as I sit here, with the type of story that has been written, I cannot just come and authenticate a story that has not even gotten responses from the institution itself that the story is being alleged to have come from.
Okay.
Then I come here to authenticate that story. No.
Maybe it's a scoop. Well, Andrew, so you're talking about abuse of incumbency.
Absolutely.
In this regard.
Because this is a state-owned enterprise, and we all know. I mean, some things, sometimes we want to gloss over the truth, when we all know that it is purely because it was a governing party that they could access Metro Mass buses. These numbers, 506 of them, for various functions, without paying for them.
We hope that the NBP doesn't repeat this. Of course, we don't know if this story is
exactly true.
But we hope that you don't repeat it.
Even the story, we don't know whether it's true.
We hope that you don't repeat it. That the MPP doesn't also engage Metro Mass, Ayalolo, or whichever it is.
I always say that we, as political actors, ought to strive to build a country, a nation, not our parties.
Right.
So I'm hopeful. And look, we can only judge after the fact, because as humans, we cannot, as it were, predict the actions of who the political officers who have been put in charge of administering the affairs of state would behave. But we all are guided by past events. And going forward, I'm only hopeful that the government will do what is right and build the Ghana that we all want, that has strong institutions, strong businesses that are owned by the state, that can stand on its own without relying on government.
It raises a big question
it with debts of this
about
nature.
Political party funding, which has been on the table for a long time. And this clearly, if the NDC had money, and if the story is true, if the NDC had money, if the MPP had money, we wouldn't have to go and credit stuff. We would buy it and pay for it. Political party funding, quickly, maybe 1 minute for both of you.
I think we should
forward?
revisit that conversation. It's been put on the back burner for a while now. And it's about time that we as a nation takes it. Of course, we know that this country is saddled with so many challenges. Right. You know, we have issues with water, we have issues with now Galamsey and several other things. Even the salaries of our public sector workers are not the best. So to go and suggest that some of these meager resources of the state should be deployed to support political parties seem not to sit well with many Ghanaians. But I think that, like they always say, democracy is expensive. And if we want our political parties to behave in a manner that would inure to the benefit of the entire country, then we should find ways as a country to support the activities of our political parties.
1 minute for you.
Yeah, for me, I think we are not yet there. As a country, we are having a lot of challenges. Even financing our internal budget is even a problem. So we should work, as politicians, we need to work very hard to ensure that we'll be able to make enough resources available. Then, when there are surpluses, we can now look at other things. But for now, I don't think it's time for us to be supporting political parties in that manner, no.
All right, thank you very much. Let's check out a few of your messages on social media here. And WhatsApp is buzzing. It says, good morning. It's unfortunate I can't watch you this morning. My light has been off since yesterday, but still you are the best. From Abaya at the partner. I didn't sense that one. Good morning. It's unfortunate. Okay, so it's the same message. Good morning, Ghana, and good morning, New Day. Even in BA, BA is experiencing light out in the most part of the country. ECG, tell us what's going on. And the minister in charge should quickly resolve the doomsaw which has now begun. And please, Vice President and the minister and the NHIS, when are you releasing the payments you politically promised? Because we are waiting. Bishop from BA. Good morning, TV3. I hope all things are going well. Well, we're fine, fit as fiddle. I think our fire services are doing their best, but at least they should try and improve on their services. And also the government should come to their aid by helping them on logistics, etc. Helicopters and modern firefighting equipment as well. Honorable Ejapa Mesa, aka Bobo, is really making my day. Very articulate, objective, and always on point. I salute you, and we, the people of Second D, are so proud of you. From Blueprint in the Sikado Ketan. The political will wasn't there in passing the right information bill. It was only when they lost power there and then that the political will just came up upon them, and suddenly they want to pass the RTI This is the gospel according to the book of Onapo, 44.4% from Blueprint in Escadokita. I'm beginning to like the Theophilus Tetechai, because he's trying his best to be objective. Keep it up, Honorable Theophilus Tetechai. I really enjoy the show. He is objective, I must say, objective gentleman there. But today is World Fireman Day. Maybe 1 minute more before, 1 minute each before we get into it. Questions about the fire service have been raised, and I remember that in the last parliament in which you were, the chief fire officer came to parliament, sat in front of the committee and said they can't fight fires beyond the 6th floor. There was shock and surprise. Beyond that, we didn't do anything about it. Fast forward to 2017. We still don't have equipment to fight fires beyond the 6th floor. And I'm sure you have your office in the job 600 up there someplace, maybe a 9th floor, 10th floor. I don't know what we're doing about, but what do we need at this point on World Fire Day?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's very true. In our last sittings in Parliament on the Public Accounts Committee, as a result of the performance audit that was carried out by the audit service, these issues came to the fore, and the fire officer then in charge came and then highlighted some of the recommendations that have been put to the fore. And for me, we are in a new season, a new budget year. The challenges that were enumerated by the close of last year is known to the current government. And I believe that going forward, adequate resources will be made available to the fire service to enable them, especially fight fire in terms of buildings above 5 or 15 floors. You see, the problems of the fire service, as I was listening to your, the
daily rant.
It's not really the expertise that they have. They have the expertise, But you see, as you rightly said, when they go to fire, quench fire, the people within the surrounding thinks that it is only the fire that has to be put off. But they have a larger view, as you rightly said. They are adjoining buildings. Properties. They need to ensure that
the fire doesn't spread.
Exactly. But, people will be there. They want to see that particular building goes off. So people may have their opinions, but what we should also realize is that they also have challenges. And it is up to government to continue to support them to be able to overcome those challenges. There are issues of fire hydrants. It's also a challenge. There's no collaboration between the water company and the fire service. It's a major challenge.
In fact, they have always complained that the water company doesn't put water in because they claim that people go and use the fire.
So these are challenges that government with both institutions need to work together. Because if there is they know there is water in the fire hydrant. They go there and there is no water. Whose fault? Definitely, if there is a fire outrage, there's going to be a problem. So they have the challenge. We need to support them. And then also our town and country planning. It's also a major challenge. Because before you even get to a particular building, the harm had already been caused. And at the end of the day, it is the fire service that gets the blame.
Honorable, in the Job 600 building, where's your office? Is it the 3rd floor, 4th floor, 6th floor, 8th floor?
Well, I'm on the 6th floor.
6th floor. So they can't help you.
It's within range. But so beyond the 6th floor.
You are within range.
I'm pretty safe. But that's just on the lighter side. I mean, it's a very serious matter, and we don't have to laugh about it at all. I mean, our fire service, our health service, particularly, I think we have toyed with it for far too long. Our emergency response system is all not working. I mean, we're supposed to be a middle-income country, which is aspiring to get to a certain level that I think these things are not acceptable. I think that previous governments all should take a blame for the lack of adequate resources that have been made available to our fire service institution. And like he said, this is a new year. This is poses a new opportunity for the managers of the economy to see what can be done to adequately resource our institutions to enable them.
The Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Michael Quay, says that he would not be just a speaker of receiving stuff, but he would want to trigger and initiate things from Parliament. Maybe at one of your plenary sessions, you can remind him that this was said in the last Parliament, and this is a remind him to take action. Can we get that promise from you?
Of course, it's not something that I would hesitate in putting across at all.
Okay, so ICU is rated President Akufo-Addo B+. His cabinet says so far so good, and he says, well, I would like to say that so far so good, and if I have to grade the president and his team, I'll give them B+. B+ in the sense that they just had the first 100 days in office, but the efforts and policies being put in place and the attempt to remove some of the obnoxious policies is a thing that's most welcoming. The slashing down of taxes is something that is laudable and worthy of commendation, he told the media. That's Eliza Nyaudu. He is the Tema Regional Officer of the Industrial and Commercial Workers ICU there. B+. Do you agree with the rating, Honourable?
Well, depends on the issues that has been.
He mentions taxes, tax cuts, policies that are being implemented. I'm sure it's talking about.
So he is mainly talking about policies,
tax
of the government. Yes. Exactly. He is not looking at the entire governance system as a whole.
Right.
And so therefore, yes.
But what would be your rating for this government so far?
Well, for me, I'm not looking at the taxes that has been cut because one, it has not inured to the benefit of the average person, and so therefore, for me, I see it as a cost-90 project. Well, for 100 days,
B+.
Well, they have done their rating, but for me, this is a government that just began office, and I don't think within the 3 months they have achieved something that is inuring to the benefit of citizens as at now, as we see here.
So your rating.
So for now, it is an average performance.
For example, so if we're rating, it's not an A, it's not a B+, or a B, it's not a B-, C+, C,
and so a C
E,
would be
F.
Okay.
C+ or C-.
It's average. No, C.
Regular C.
Yeah, average.
C, so average. But what do you expect? You expect some more?
Yeah, when government says it has cut taxes, especially taxes that should inure to the benefit of the average citizenry, you need to see those taxes reflect in your daily.
Some of the taxes, for example, the spare parts taxes,
no, please don't talk about that.
Protocols.
Exactly. So how do I rate? Whilst the people are still...
And you live around the spare parts area.
Exactly. In fact, they are really angry. But you see, these are some of the things that we do as governments when we don't plan, and then we just push in an agenda. That is what happens. Because if the government has really sat down to plan or to look into that tax, it would have realized that this was a tax that you cannot easily just take out as a government, okay? But just to satisfy a group, and now the group is just not just enjoying what you claim to have given them. So for me, it is not about I've cut this, I've cut that, I've cut that. Recently, there was an increase in, how do you call it? Transport fares. 15%.
Road transport fares.
Exactly. So if there is a cut in, let's say, if taking taxes out of petroleum products, where should the benefits go? You expect the benefits to go to the average person.
Right.
So if the average person is not enjoying that benefit, do you call that a benefit to me?
GPRTU was the one that raised the 15%.
No.
Must we not blame GPRTU?
The
release that we saw.
I've been in the Ministry of Transport.
Right.
I've been the chair for the Roads and Transport Committee. When it comes to the fixing of transport fares, it is done in collaboration with the ministry.
Right. So it's not entirely the business of GPRTU.
No.
So why would GPRTU sign on to it? And say
at the
that
end of the day, at the end of the day, they take the responsibility.
Right.
But they are going to urge their members to take that approved. But they don't do that on their own.
Okay.
They do that with the transport ministry.
Right.
And they come together, agree on the fares. So government has a hand in it.
Exactly. Honorable Mesa, B+, is it a fair assessment?
Let's address the GPRTU one, and then we, of course, B+, I think is a low grade.
What would you have expected?
I would grade the government an A.
Are you not being complacent and
I'm not being
running ahead of yourself?
In fact, my expectation is that they would have done an A+.
You have not ended the semester. And you're
yes. We've and of course, the assessment is based on the 100 days that has lapsed.
Right.
And all the indications, the policy that have been put in place, the taxes that have been reduced, all the foundation that would lead to an accelerated economic development has been put in place.
You just wrote your first IA, and you have not finished the semester. So it's a cumulative score.
I'm not rating the government ahead of the 4 years.
Right.
It's the 100 days specific.
That's your IA.
But that has passed.
Okay.
And there is a rating.
So you are looking
and
for
I'm saying, of course, I was looking for an A+.
A+, I see.
Straight A+, because, look, I read the manifesto of the party.
Right.
And I have always been hopeful in the NPP as being the best alternative to governance in this country. And the manifesto clearly spelled out practical things that were going to be done.
You speak about the manifesto. It talks about prompt payment of allowances, salaries, and all of that. We will be bedeviled with what? April salaries delayed, biometric issues, you know, the 103 achievements. The showbiz people have come to say that the Art Council is not being formed, and that there are so many things in there that are untruths and all of that.
That is why I rate the government an A.
Not
because
A+.
I said my expectation was that they were going to do an A+.
Okay.
But because of the few hiccups that is expected of any new government, I would rate the government an A.
Okay.
You know, but to the GPRT issue that, as always, they try to play propaganda with, as if to say we forget. But we don't. You recall that last year or so, they had an arrangement with the GPRTU that transport fares were only going to be increased when there was a 10% or so increase or 20% increase in the price of petroleum products. Right. True?
But as we speak, Brent crude oil prices have dropped.
True, it's dropped. It's dropped. I'm coming. Over the year, how many times did the price of petroleum products go up? But deliberately, it never exceeded the agreed threshold with the GPRTU. But cumulatively, it way exceeded it. So this is a compound problem that necessarily had to be tabled for discussions to be held, for the prices to be reviewed.
So how are you saying that? How are you solving it? How are you fixing it?
It is going to be solved.
How?
That's why, look, the problems that led to all these things relates to the energy sector crisis and all that. Now, government is raising a bond to take care of that, so that it frees the sector.
The same bond that we were told that you would never raise, you never go. And in fact, the president is reiterating here on one of the front pages that we can build Ghana with our own resources. That's the daily statement. President is saying so. The bond is not our own resource, is it not?
But this is on the existing debt that is crippling the financial sector. So what do? There's an energy sector levy that comes in infrequently that is intended to service this debt. So it is a smart thing to do, to borrow, pay the entire debt off, and then use the receivables that is going to come into the energy sector levy to pay this thing off over time.
19 points.
That's why I said that, you know, there's mere borrowing and smart borrowing. You know, this debt that is sitting, the 2.5 debt that is sitting,
is smart.
Is still accruing interest.
Is this smart?
I think it is. I think so, because the interest rate on the market is in excess of 30%, isn't it? Commercial interest rate. So if you borrow at 19%, that gives you 10, 11% saving. And I think that the managers of the economy are doing what is right, so that this the buoyancy that we all expect to trigger the
people are not feeling it. They're doing what is right, but the people are not feeling it.
It's the foundation that is being put in place.
How long will this foundation be put in place?
Of course, I mean that's why there's a honeymoon period that is given every new government that traditionally has been labeled 100.
Kokwanyido says you took over with a lot of goodwill, but you have lost a lot of it in a very short time.
What do you expect from a personality like Kokwanyido?
What is wrong with his personality?
No, I mean, what do you expect? He's a die-in-the-wool opponent of Nana Akufo-Addo. He doesn't see anything good with the government. He sits and talks. You know, I want to be charitable, but you know, the broader majority of the people are the ones who are going to make a determination as to whether the policies and programs of government.
When can Ghanaians expect to be smiling?
Of course, the
together?
government has a 4-year mandate.
So when?
I cannot give a definitive time, but there is always a time for stock taking and a time to measure as to whether you have met my aspirations as a government.
We know that that's in 4 years.
Of course.
But then before that,
that's why I said that you cannot, some of these things, you can only measure it after the fact.
Okay.
You get what I mean? I mean, to what extent can you say that, well, government has started working on that, now I'm feeling the policies and programs of the government. Some would have started feeling it.
Okay.
Because if you go to the cocoa sector, there are programs that are being rolled out. The reduction in the prices of the fertilizer is impacting the farmers' lives.
There's even an issue with the distribution.
Yes, I'm not aware of any issue with the distribution. Anyway, but there would be challenges. But the thing is this: are people benefiting, or some segment of our population benefiting from the programs and policies of government? Yes,
the benefits
are some other sectors benefiting?
Have been given to the rich in terms of air transport fares. It's been reduced, and then the ordinary trotro passenger is had to pay for huge exorbitant rates. But
I don't think that air transport.
When you travel to Takrady, you pay less now, don't you?
Well,
you pay less now.
I drive most of the time if I have to go to my constituency, and I'm not from Takrady. I'm from Secondary.
Anyway, Honorable Theophilus Echete, 2020 for NDC, the race has already begun, so to speak. Alban Bagbin is in there. His aide says he has no moral right to reject the calls by the people not to contest. President Mahama has not stated that he will contest, but obviously there are people who think that he should contest one more time because he only had one term. Professor Joshua Labi, an astute NDC man, an academic, and all of that is there. Dr. Kospio Gabra, he mentioned it here to me on this platform. And so it's already begun. What do you see?
Yeah, for me, for now, that is not the call for now. Because as a political party, after an electoral defeat, what you need to do is to re-examine your effort over the years and then see where you fell short and then how to move forward.
The Simbo Trade Committee did that.
Yeah, and currently that is ongoing. After that stage, the next stage will be the reorganization of the party structures.
Right.
That has not started. Okay. It is after the party's structures have been reorganized that will create the environment for some of the things we see today.
Okay.
But a political party is made up of humans, and people have their feelings and so on and so forth.
Right. And
sometimes they try to air those feelings ahead of everybody. And so therefore, what we see is very healthy. It tells you that the NDC as a political party is still vibrant. It tells you that we have that adequate human resource that can take over the reins of governance once again in this country. But what I'm trying to tell our supporters is that for now, let us concentrate more on the reorganization of the party structures. And I believe after that is done, then we can actually start supporting the various office holders that we think...
Interesting names that are coming up, is it not?
They are very good human resources that this country needs. All of them
are potentials.
Very, very good.
Honorable Mesa, 5 names so far.
I thought that all the praises that were heaped on His Excellency, the former President, John Dramani Mahama, and the fact that I've heard some persons say that because he served only one term, he will be given the overwhelming support of the party to contest in 2020. I have my own views about his ability to contest in 2020, but that's for another day.
What are your views?
Oh no, we will discuss
what
that.
Are your views?
I think that.
What are your views?
I think that
and
the
Rebecca,
Constitution does not allow him to contest again in 2020.
Why?
Because my understanding of Article 63 is that the two-term commences, or the possibility of contesting a second term commences from the day that you're sworn in the first term.
Okay.
For 2 terms, continuous. There is no opportunity for a break and coming back. But of course, I mean, I'm not an expert in constitutionalism, so it's a debate that I'm sure would come up.
Right. But the names that have come up.
It's interesting. I thought that, like I was saying, with all the great things that we hear President Mahama did, that some of us did not see, but the NDC saw. They were going to overwhelmingly endorse him.
Is your second deputy speaker.
Yeah, he's the father of the house.
He's a tower in
terms
of
course.
Parliamentary practice in this country.
Qualified.
Is an academic, successful marketer.
Like you said, all the personalities whose names have come up, I think, have what it takes to lead their party. Okay. But I foresee this as the beginning of larger problems to come.
So
and the implosion that will happen, we are yet to see. I wish them well.
Okay, of course, you can only wish them well. Someone said you're Bobo. What's with that name? Bobo or Bobo? What's with that name?
Well, it's Bobo, and
secondary school name.
Yeah, secondary school. My elder brothers.
Were you a bad boy?
Nah, it was a family name that I inherited. All my elder brothers who went to Adesada, most of my elder siblings. There were 11 boys and some.
The other days are calling you to a fight because they equipped the mobile boys in the golf match and they're calling on Adisco and Absu. Maybe you should go and play for them. Thank you.
Not a problem at all.
Honorable Andrew Mesa is MP for 2nd D, and Honorable Theophilus Atechai is a former member of Parliament for Africa Central. They've joined me for the conversation here. We'll return with sports after this. Stay with us here on New Day. We'll be right back.